Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I have another interesting video here, this time in a 2007 Audi Q7 with a 4.2 liter gasoline engine. Customer concern is a dead computer, no communication. I post some pictures on Facebook on my page if you guys wants to see that. Otherwise, I'm going to share a little bit of what I have here. Let me start a screen recording so we can all see perfectly what I'm about to show. All right, guys, I got the screen recording going, so I don't have to be focusing on that. I will be sharing as much as information as you always know. I do a really extensive homework before I jump into any computer. I had a question from one of my subscribers in YouTube about do you build harnesses for every single computer you work on? It all depends. If it's a no communication, like in this case, I don't really need to provide all the signals and everything. But if I have to completely test the computer, yes, I will. That all depends on how many times repetition do I work in the computer. Probably for the first 1 second time, I would not create a harness for it. But if it's a computer that I get like very constantly coming, of course I will. All right, this is for Kevin Bodwell. I hope I said your name good. He's a owner and diagnostician of Extreme Motorsports. If you guys want to get information with him, this is his information. I guess it's a business card, so no problem to share that. And this is also the back of his card. Hopefully the camera is focusing good in there. All right, so as you guys can see, I got the calibration. I connected into the um, file to not in the file into my programmer, and I was able to read everything I save, everything, the flash, the maps, the microprocessor alone, the EEPROM, everything, just in case. Things that I always do, I get this is like from Identifix. I can get all the information for full codes and everything. The nice thing about this is it's not just giving me the full code. Like let's say in this case, like the P00A is a BBT intake bank 1 and bank 2 response, and it tells you the setting conditions, like in this case, above 4 degrees and so on. If you read down, it will give you even values on sensors that you want to, to check. Um, I also go back to the file. I put the connectors. Again, from Identifix is very nice because it tells you locations on, this is all Audi and Volkswagen original information. As you can see, there are sometimes this computer will be called J623 or J624. Without the car here, it's very hard to know which one it is. So I am looking for 94 and 60 pin connector. So this is not, because this is a T101, sorry, a 105 and a T91. So 105 pin and 95 and 91 pin. But the next one, not this one. Let me go back up. Yeah, this is a correct, at least for my pins, maybe it's not the correct location, because if you can see here, it shows, the computer sometimes in here, or in this case in here. So we can see that we got a T60 black and a T95 4, and that's what we got here. So a 60 pin connector and a 94 pin connector, nicely from Audi and Volkswagen. The pins are actually shown inside the computer connector, so it's very good. Errors in here, we can see here that, all right, what I was saying is we can see an error here on this 94 pin. It's showing 94 here and 72 on the top. That's incorrect. 94 is on the top. We can see the 73 is here. So how is 72 here on the in the end, and then 73 at the beginning? So that we know that is an error. Same thing with 28 and 5. This is not a 5, it's actually a 50, and should be the second row. 28 is the first row. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are correct, and then it starts 7 and so on. But again, we got those marked correctly here, so not a problem. All right, so these are the connectors. I have also get the communication data lines just to see how was that, distributed in the vehicle, because again, this has a gateway. Am I going to be able to talk with the scanner? Just connecting the computer here, so I need to know which one was or which one is kind high and kind low. So we can see the pins and the connector with 94 pins. Pin 67 and pin 68 are the communication lines, but it never tells you, at least not in any of these diagrams. I got the tracks, original Audi and Volkswagen wire diagrams, but that will take very long to find everything. So I'd rather use the color ones because I can, fast. It's a lot faster to gather the information. It's still, there doesn't tell you which one is can high, can low. So I have to do some testing here to find out if I'm connect correctly. I know there is 67 and 68, but I don't know which one is low and which one is high. But so I just follow the two lines, and as you can see here, and then this goes down to the DLC, which in the DLC we know 6 and 14. But this goes, again, will go up to this data bus onboard diagnostic interface. And this has its own powers and grounds, so this is a gateway. So I'm assuming that I will be able to communicate, not all the time. A computer will be able to communicate if you don't have a gateway. So it's like in the case of BMWs, it's a little hard to do it without the BDM or the Footwell module or whatever the gateway is on the vehicle instance. All right, so again, component locations, I did the same thing. Again, this is just me gathering information for what I'm working on. Um, it's nice in this case. It tells me the actual position of the computer and all the sensors and blah blah blah. But it's nice, this is all again all the original information, and I like to save it because I don't have to. If I work in another computer like this, I don't have to gather that information again and again and again, right? All right. So the next one will be again the diagram. This is the regional diagram, so you know and you understand what the tracks data wiring diagrams are. Identifix used to have this hyperlink, so you can just click on the components list in here, and it will take you over to the next track, whatever not no longer happening. But at least we have a color wire diagram that you can follow, and then find your powers and grounds and so on. This is always a ground bar, and if we have power it will be shown on the top, or if it goes to a fuse, in this case a relay or so. I'm just going to scroll down. This is J2, so this is the computer, the J623 in this case, and again you have the pinouts in here. It tells you T94 or T60, depends. Like this is connected to, sorry, pin 23, T94. Just a short explanation of what the tracks are. I found on ProDemand, no other software was able to give me this, and so uh, I will give tens to them because I couldn't find this on Identifix or anything else. And I seen about this, it will tell me in the connector T94 which ones are powers and grounds, and also everything else. And it is correct. So I, like you see, do my homework very extensive. I take also, this is just a wire diagram on color. I took the time to do it in Identifix. I like Identifix a little more than ProDemand because ProDemand shows you page at a time. With Identifix, you can select all the pages. Protoman has a little better part because if you select, let's say, like the way that I found those pinouts for the computers, I went over to the data bus wiring. Let me actually show you that. And instead of just saying it. All right, so we go over to ProDemand in here. I'm still in the same car. Perfect. So if I go into wire diagram, because okay, I have to log in again. Um, Vehicle history, and then Q7, perfect. All right, so if you go to wire diagrams, they have hyperlinks, and this is only so far happening in ProDemand. So if I go over to the engine computer, it's not going to give me hyperlinks for the computer because obviously it's selected. So it will give me anything that is connected. Like if I have like this engine coolant temperature sensor, you see how it has now I can, like if I move away, I have an arrow. If I move over, it gives me a hand, and this will open hyperlinks on the side, and it tells me component connector, component location, component operation, and guided component test. This is very useful. If I click in here, it tells me, the back propping, the best location on the connector on the computer. Great information. And in this case, actually, it's giving me the whole pinouts of the computer here, which is absolutely perfect too. I didn't find it this way. As you can see, this is the 94 and then the T60, so I could have grabbed it right here. So, but the way that I did it, because, well, obviously I didn't know that by clicking in there, it was going to give it to me. So what I did is I close here. I went into wire diagrams and I selected like a computer data lines, and then I found again, if you just see it like this, it's no hyperlinks. You have to actually open it to this new page, and now you see the blue um, links. So I have to go over to the next one. I think the ECM is, let me see what it is, transmission. Let me find it again. Which one is this? Communication data lines. I got it easy for, oh, it should be in the first one. I just didn't see it, you see? So that's why it's so important to gather information. So let's go over to page one. Yeah, and your control module right here. So again, I went in here. Now I have a hyperlink. And if I click in here and I go over to guided component test again, now I have the pinout for the computer, and then you can just select and print it, right? So that's exactly what I did, save it as a PDF, and that's how I have it. All right, guys, so I then did the same thing with the ground distribution to see which one was grounds. I got the power distribution again in here too. I always take a picture the before. Let me show you, this was the before, when it got here to me. I can scroll over. This is just information that I have. I always take a picture of the computer. He opened it up, and I said, please just send it over to me. Don't keep going, because sometimes you can damage the computer by prying and having the correct, even though he has the openers for the computer to remove the cover, but to actually remove from here, you have to apply heat, and you have to know where you're doing, because otherwise it can damage again the computer. He didn't. So this is the other side of the computer. We got the damage area right here, at least the starting of the damage. Again, I take now closer look pictures, so I can, end up putting um, the pinouts and any information I found as far as chips and stuff like that. This is the other side of the board. I needed to remove this component because I now have to reroute the damaged tracks over to the other side. So this is what I did. I have to, this is only a picture of one or two of the repairs, because I don't need to really keep going, but you can see damage, 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 like 7 or 8 just in here, and I end up fixing all those. You can see the same thing. How I do it, I just put a jumper wire, and then I put the a special cement for the boards that will hold the wires in place and stop corrosion. And I apply after good silicone spray for water protection. I always do that in all the repairs that I do. That's the big number of the car. I think that's the last of the information. All right, so this is the last of that information. I want to share on the wire diagrams. What I did is, so in Identifix, and this is what I like about Identifix, I can select all the wires and deselect the rest. Let me close this so we can have a better view. So we can see that these are grounds. So 1, 2, and 3. So 1, 2, and 4, sorry, are ground, and then 3, 5, and 6 are powers. At least on this first part of the 60 pins of the 94 connector, again, T94. So this is just a partial of that. And as you can see, I selected everything, and there was sharing powers around and across the entire vehicle, let's say, right on these diagrams. We can see heated oxygen sensor, master flow sensors, etc. All the relays and secondary air injection and so on. You can guys read that here. My interest and my important, or what I was looking for, to see which wires were going to the computer and showing powers and ground. Now I know that 67 is kind of low and 68 is kind of high because of this. Oh, this came off. All right. Now I know because I did my tests. All right. So if I keep going down again, you can see all the fuses and everything that is in the engine part is selected. And I wanted to see if it's anything going. This is now the connector, the 60 pin connector, T60, and nothing was going there. I keep going down, and then nothing was connected that I needed to supply as far as power, grounds, or communication for the scanner to talk. Remember, this is a no communication. All right, so let's stop. I always like to share that. So I connect the powers and grounds. For this, I just supply one ground because one. Let me go back to the first page in here so I can share that correctly. So one, two, and four are actually shared inside the computer. Since I'm not supplying, coils or injectors, I can just supply one ground because they're all shared. If you're in the car, you need the three grounds because they're going to draw amperage. Same thing on the powers. But just to power up the computer, no, you don't. So I put one power on three or five or six, and then selected five, sorry, six, and then selected pin one as a ground. And then the rest, yes, pins 67 and 68, obviously, communication. And then this other two, 87 and 93. Sorry, 92. All in the connector with 94 pins. This is keep alive memory and ignition. All right, guys. So now I'm going to do an auto scan. The scanner was already on. So now we're going to look for the VIN number on the vehicle. That is just the communication between the scanner and the MCI Pro using the tap-down Phoenix Max for this. And that's the sound that I like to hear. And this is the VIN number. This is success, 100% success. We have communication. Now I'm going to go into quick access. Since I don't have anything connected except for battery, again, that's all I need is to see the logic of the computer. So battery voltage is enough for me to bring the power up and down. So the battery up and down, a little hard to know what all this means. Well, but we have ECM right here. So we're going to go into the engine electronics. And this is perfect because it tells me the code workshop, the long coding, software version. This is 100% good because the computer is giving all that information to the scanner. That is microprocessor logic is perfect. And I knew I was right and I was good because I was able to grab all that information from, with the programmer from the microprocessor, the EEPROM, and all the stuff. All right, we're going to go to read data stream. I'm going to select it by list, and I'm just going to look for the battery. Um, Battery voltage. I guess they're all the same. All right, so we got 13.44. And I'm supplying, remember that not all the power is going to that because I got disconnected, and also my test light that you can see is powered up in there. That's a logic test light that I have from SIA Electronica. So I'm going to lower the voltage. I put them down into around 12 volts, 12 volts on the scanner, right? So that's, and we have that here. I'm going now to focus you in the scanner, and I'm going to raise the voltage to around 13 and a half. And that is perfect. So that's it. Computer is working, is reading, is communicating good. This is 100% repair. I hope you guys like the video. I like to share a lot of information on what I do. I show the pictures of the repairs, how I know what do I need to repair. That is experience. And then you need to check, not just repair the area and see if it works. Well, you can try what I just did, see if it doesn't work, and then you try it again. I do have a curve tracer that I use to compare injectors and some other signals. For communication, I do have a 16-bit oscilloscope that I can connect to see the SPI communication in between the microprocessors and peripherals. and that's how I check and I make sure that it's activity. I check obviously before that. I go over to the power rails and I check for the 2.6, 2.8 depends on the computer. You will have a 2.6 or 2.8, 3.3, a 1.5 or 1.6, 5 volts, 8 volts, and then battery voltage. This is you want to repetition is going to make you successful in what you do, and you get familiar even if is this is let's say the first time I open a 4.2 Audi Q7. I have worked in so many European vehicles that I know where the voltage regulator is, what the power ICs are. These are smart drivers, so whatever you are seeing this, these always are smart drivers, and they can share, fuel pump, CAN network. They can be the CAN transceiver in there, or it can be in the other one, and then we can flip it around, and I can show you, all the circuitry that goes to the injectors. This is a GDI engine, so definitely you have to be careful when you're working with GDI if you're going to power the injectors because that can go up spikes up to 200 volts, so that can really, really hurt you and destroy your equipment. So I would recommend if you're going to do something like that with GDI and injectors to actually get an injector and use that as a load and make sure that you have the proper equipment. I have a different power supply when I'm working with GDIs, and I had that everything isolated like that. Nothing is going to destroy my equipment. I usually, when I work in the GDI section, I use the handheld oscilloscope, not that oscilloscope, and nothing that is connected to mains because that will destroy the equipment and can kill you too. And remember, it's high amperage and it's high voltage. So anything above 40 volts is considered dangerous. So, and that's why if you are working on this, is take your own risk. Unless you know what you're doing, take hybrid classes if you don't know what I'm talking about, and make sure that you use gloves and you are using a special equipment. You use eye protection gloves, and then you can measure. The way that I usually do is I connect my ground and I use one hand only. The reason you use one hand only is the electricity and amperage is not going to go through your body from hand to hand, crossing your heart, and it's not going to kill you. I always recommend to do it that way. In isolating, having a transformer that will isolate with the power that I'm using on the computer, as long as I don't touch two sections on the same computer on that circuit that is the GDI, I'm completely safe. But again, that's experience, that is learning, that is hours of classes that I have take, information that I look online, videos that I found on YouTube. I am a lot self-taught, and I can just not say all is because of me. First, the Lord that has given me my brain and effort to push hard and do what I like to do. I really enjoy doing this, but there is also a lot of good information online. Look for it. You want to learn. Don't just look like ask people, can you send me and send me? Yes, I can start sending you something, but look online. Show me that you already got something, and then I can help you. But not just send me everything that you have so I can start doing what you do. No, that's not how it works. All right, guys. Sorry for taking a little extra longer on that last part of the conversation. Thank you so much for visiting the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye.